All right, we're in section 13.1 where we're going to talk about angle relations. So we talked a little bit about some introductions into geometry uh, in earlier chapters. This is kind of another progression on the introduction into some geometric concepts. And one of them is being able to understand the difference between complementary angles and supplementary angles. So if you look at the definitions, it says uh, complementary angles are two angles where their sums measure 90 degrees, and supplementary angles are two angles where their sums measure 180 degrees. So if you look here in these two diagrams, I got a diagram here and I have a diagram here. So angles 1 and 2 would be considered uh, complementary angles because if I go like this and move these two around and kind of fit them in, it appears that we have like a 90-degree angle between angles 1 and 2. And just like with angles uh, 3 and 4, I can move it here and looks like I can get a straight line, and the straight line right here shows that it's a 180-degree angle. So what you'll be asked to do occasionally is you'll be given a polygon that has like interior angles, whether it's quadrilateral, pentagon, stuff like that. And they'll have different angles to help represent the shape. And sometimes they're going to ask, where are the complementary angles? Where are the supplementary angles? So we'll look at complementary first. Complementary are any two angles that add up to 90 degrees. So first off, I can see I have 60 and I have 30. 60 plus 30 gives me 90. So I know that angle A and angle D are complementary angles because they add up to 90 degrees. So supplementary angles, so if we look here, those are angles that add up to 180. So it looks like I have 150 and 30. 150 plus 30 is 180. So angle C and angle D are supplementary. And I also notice that 120 and 60 add up to 180. So we have another set of supplementary angles. So I could say that angle B and angle A also fit that description. So you can have more than one complementary, you can have more than one supplementary angle in a specific polygon. Other things that they're going to be asking you to find is they want you to determine if the angles are complementary, supplementary, or neither. So basically what you're going to do is you're going to add up the two angles, see what the result is, and then compare them if they're complementary, which means they add up to 90, supplementary, which they add up to 180, or neither, which means they cannot equal 90 or 180. So I go here, I got 63 plus 27. 63 plus 27 equals 90. So since it's 90 degrees, they are complementary. I go to angle B, I got 146 plus 44. 146 plus 44 gives me 190 degrees, and that is neither 180 or 90, so it is neither. Finally, I have C, I got 95 plus 85, and that gives me 180 degrees. 180 degrees means that those two angles are supplementary. other um, angle relationships that kind of tie into what we're looking at is vertical angles. Vertical angles are when two lines intersect at one point. So right here, they intersect right here. The angles that are opposite to each other are vertical angles. So if you look here, they have the setup of vertical angles where in this diagram where angle 1 and angle 3 are vertical angles. So not only are they vertical, they're also equal to each other. And angle 2 and angle 4 are also vertical angles. So for example, let's say that we gave a value of, let's go 62 degrees for angle 3. That would mean that angle 1 would also equal 62 degrees. Another thing about vertical angles is we have a bunch of supplementary angles. So 1 and 2 are supplementary, which means they add up to 180, 1 and 4, 4 and 3, 2 and 3. So even though you may be only given one angle for uh, a specific number or letter or whatever symbol they have to represent an angle measure, we can find the other ones by using vertical angles and by establishing that the other ones are supplementary. So since they are supplementary, to find angle 4 or angle 2, I simply can take 180 and subtract it by 62. And when I do that, I get 118. So that means in this example, if angle 3 was 62, that means angle 1 is 62 because of vertical angles, and both angle 2 and angle 4 would also be 118 degrees because of supplementary angles. So we have an example here. We have it says we have a television tray angle, and they're telling you that A is 110 degrees. It says find angles B, C, and D. Okay, C is easy to find because it's the vertical angle to A, so C is also 110 degrees. And now to find D or B, you simply can take 180 because B and C, or C and D, or A and D, or A and B, whatever you want to choose, those are supplementary. And you could take 180 and subtract it by 110. So 180 minus 110 gives us 70. So B is 70 degrees, which means D is also 70 degrees because B and D are also vertical angles. Last examples here, we have a couple of uh, intersected angles at a certain point. They want us to find the value of x, then find the unknown angle measures. So they're asking for two things. So in example A, we have an intersection right here, which means that this here and this here, those are two vertical angles. And since they are vertical angles, we know that they are going to be the same measurement. So in order to find x, in this case, I can take 3x and set it equal to x plus 58. I need all variables on one side, so I'm going to subtract x to both sides. Now I got 2x is equal to 58. Divide everything by 2. I get x is equal to 29. So I found out what those angles are. I can figure out what those angles are because now I know x is 29. And to figure out the other angles, I can take 29 multiplied by 3, and which gives me 87. We can also take 29 and add to 58, which is also 87, which makes sense because they are vertical angles. And the other two unknowns, you can just take 180 and subtract it by 87, and it gets you 93 degrees and 93 degrees. For example B, we just have two angles. We have an angle here and we have an angle here. But what we know is one side is 4x degrees, the other one is 5x degrees. What we know about these two angles is 4x and 5x are supplementary. So I can say that 4x plus 5x is going to equal 180 degrees. Combining like terms, 4x plus 5x is 9x, which equals 180. And then I can just take 180 and divide it by 9, which gives me x equals 20. All right, and then all we got to do is plug it into uh, each of the expressions. 20 times 4 gives us 80 degrees, so I got 80 degrees over here. 20 times 5 is 100. Makes sense. 80 plus 100 is 180. That adds up, and it checks out. And that is looking at um, angle relationships. Hope this helps. Till next time.